lordships, that this but-for test is extremely hazardous. To guess what would have happened on that fateful day had a trust vote taken place is inviting rank speculation.
I got it.
Anything else, Mr. Salve? We got the
Yes.
exposed factor.
Third point which I wanted to make, my lord, is since the point is still in play, the Nabam Rabia judgment, and I had, my lord, given a note earlier. I believe Mr. Trivedi had handed it over. Mr. Jetmalani had handed it over.
Last time you read also when you appeared.
Yes, my lord. No, after that I gave a note, my lord.
That was there.
I read the judgment as more not the absence of power, but the manner of its exercise. So it is by filing a disqualification or rather a removal of speaker. Because all those provisions are shown to your lordship saying the speaker doesn't, as a matter of law, is not put in suspension. They are right. So there is no absence of power. I was not only saying.
It's about the manner of exercise rather than the absence of power.
Correct. Because my lord, abuse of constitutional power is a head which we now recognize for judicial review. Is my lord the Chief Justice saying something to me, my lord? I can't hear.
You don't read Nabam Rabia as an absolute principle that the speaker is disabled from exercising his jurisdiction when there's a motion for his removal pending.
No.
It's a caution to the speaker, and ultimately it's for the speaker to take a call whether there's a frontal assault on his continuance, whether he would like to go ahead with the hearing of the disqualification petition.
And as I read that judgment, my lord, your lordships have not said that the speaker ceases to have power, but the
what you're telling us would be either to sort of restrict it a little bit or put a gloss on the judgment. I mean, if you really read those,
my lord, we always judgments are not statutes, and we always, my lord, learn to understand them. Sometimes when things are written, my lord, those facts were very stark, so maybe the language used was a little strong. But I read that judgment as, because please see, my lord, the analysis, and your lordship has read the judgment. I'm not going to waste your time reading it. The facts were so stark. What really your lordship was doing is that the speaker had no business to do this. The actions of the speaker in that case, my lord, were open and shut case of abuse of power is the finding. So I don't, my lord, read that judgment as absence of power. Your lordship never said that he ceases to have. There are 50 other things the speaker does, my lord. He runs the whole administrative office of the legislature. Surely he's doing all that. It's only in one area that the speaker should not act. If there is, my lord, pending consideration of all these rumpus, if there was any other resolution, of course he would preside and run the house. So, my lord, once your lordships read that judgment that way, that what really the court was trying to say is not an absence of power, but the actions of a speaker will be tested. A speaker should just put to caution when there is a notice for his removal. His actions will be tested on well-known principles of abuse of power. Then, my lord, the concern which your lordship have would go away, with that judgment being read as absence of power. And finally, my lord, if I may just hark back a little to my first opening point, apart from this understanding of the Nabam Rabia judgment, my lord, nothing else really survives. There is a note which I believe is placed at note J. My lord, I believe, I'm sorry, my friend informs me, my earlier note saying what I have just formulated for your lordship's consideration is in note F. And there is yet another note, note J.
Last night.
Yes, this is only to show the hazards of the but-for test.
Note J.
I was just told, my lord, it is marked as note J.
It's written submissions. It doesn't say note J.
It says brief note on arithmetic for hypothetical trust vote.
What's that?
Mathematics.
Yes, it's just the math. Only, my lord, this is only to indicate to your lordships that this but for test is extremely hazardous. To guess what would have happened on that fateful day had a trust vote taken place is
What is this
inviting
name?
rank speculation.
I got
Yeah, yeah.
Harish Salve's name.
F is the earlier one on the Constitution bench judgment, the Nabam Rabia judgment.
दोपहर को कर दे, दोपहर को हाँ कर दे,
हाँ,
हाँ please.
Mail.
And this note J, my lord, only sets out, I'll quickly tell you lordship what we have basically said.
notes तो तेरा
नहीं है, वो अलग है.
I have given, my lord, different places where in the writ petitions they have mentioned.
You sent it on my mail, personal mail.
Basically, my lord, this gives you at one place. Please, it's not there, it's no big deal. Your lordship knows it is there. Basically, what we are trying to say is, we have given your lordship the para numbers and the page numbers.
तो डाउनलोड कर देना बाद में उसको.
Thank you.
If your lordship sees the from paragraph 3,
नहीं,
on 23rd June, only 16 disqualification petitions were filed. Let's be very clear, my lord, of a few dates. On 25th June, Speaker issues notice to 16. The order of your lordships on 27th June was limited to 16. That, my lord, there was 39 or 40 disqualifications. In fact, my lord, look at 4C. There are two of them who are independents. They may vote one way or the other. Their party, so their party to decide whether they consider it a breach. No prayer in any of the petitions that 39 or 40 should not be allowed to vote. So, my lord, these figures which are being given, and I have given your lordship the shifting stands in different places. And I, my lord, again underscore the point. This was only
Mr.
To
Paul,
finish,
Mr.
Malad,
all of you.
this-
What you were thinking was that Mr. Salve, roughly,
I'm done in 5 minutes.
That's all right. But it won't finish now.
Yeah.
Can't finish. There's no point.
Mr.
Malad.
Salve, you will take about
5-7 minutes.
5
I'll be done by
minutes,
lunch.
5,
Yes,
7 minutes.
100%.
Mr. Jethlani, we are not at all rushing any one of you because these are important matters of moment. We are not just forget the facts, but we are thinking of a matter of moment. So, how much would you take in terms
Ordinary circumstances, about half an hour, but I could curtail it to 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
half an hour? Then Mr. Maninder Singh, half an hour, all right. Mr. Solicitor,
Are a few more minutes, Manoj.
so you will between the three of you will take 2 hours.
Realistically speaking, it may not be over.
All right, Mr. Call, one more thing. I thought we curbed you unduly, and then you were gracious enough to follow our edict. But the idea was to finish today, but we may not be able to wrap up today.
Yes,
Now.
yes,
It doesn't
no
appear that we'll be able to wrap it up today. In which case,
Then
Mr.
let's
Call,
have
are
it
you-
on Tuesday then, Malad.
Mr. Call, one more thing. Is your conscience clear that you're satisfied that you've argued fully? Is there something which you would have still liked? Because as a judge who's seen so many seasons,
Never give
I
that
don't want you to
opportunity
leave.
to a lawyer, Malad.
You don't want to give the impression that you're not.
Ideally, I would have liked to take your lordship through some of the judgments if I could, which I read, but what do I say, my lords, to this? I can't. I leave it to your lordships. I can't say.
All right. What we will do is this: we will hear Mr. Salve now and just wrap it up, or we can. क्या करें?
Well, let's wrap it up and then have it on Tuesday, Malad, on the after
Tuesday
reopening.
is-
That's the only way, Malad.
On the reopening. Reopening.
then do is that on Tuesday, after we reopen, the three of you who have to now argue, and honestly, if there's something you want to still show us in the morning after Mr. Salve has wrapped up, we'll give you a little time so that you don't feel that. And anyway, there's no prejudice to Mr. Sibal because you still have to rejoin. So
Yes, yes, normal, I'll sort of rejoin without the haste.
would it be all right to assess that on Tuesday, in the first session, the three of you will be able to finish?
Yes. Yes.
Right? Maybe so if you take...
But are we not continuing this afternoon also?
I think
No,
there's
no
point
need,
because they're
Madam.
now spilling over beyond the...
Oh, yes.
There's no
Then we
point,
get some more time also if it was full.
isn't it? Then what we can do is we can keep it on Tuesday. Mrs.
Yes.
Salve, we'll hear you for 5 minutes on Tuesday.
Yes, yes.
You may want to just...
Very well.
And then, Mr. Paul, if you still want to make a few submissions in your judgment, no problem. We'll hear you on that because let's not go...
Yeah, very kind of your lordships, very kind.
Then Mr. Jeffnani and Mr. Maninder Singh, and then we'll hear the governor, Mr.
After, my lord,
Tushar Mehta.
I'll
And equally, Mr. Sibal, we'll give you a full...
That's right, Madam, because there's lots of things that have been said, Madam, which...
Mr. Sarode, what is that you wanted to say now? And don't mention anything, huh? We're not, it's not mentioning time.
No, my lord. My lord, I am intervener on behalf of the voters. I may be given some time to, my lord, narrate the...
Mr. Sarode, if you allow interveners and then...
Whenever possible, my lord.
There'll be interveners on this side, interveners on that side.
no
Give us a
problem.
small note of a page or so. We'll look at your note, no difficulty. Just
No, my lord,
listen.
I'm supporting Mr. Sibal sir and the party, my lord. But my lord, voter side is very important as allowed by the honorable court.
Mr. Sarode, Mr. Sibal will be... Mr. Sibal and Dr. Singhvi will be very happy with your support, but I'm not sure they want you to support them in the court. So you can have a word with Mr. Sibal. If you have some specific point, which they have not covered, then you can
Yes.
certainly have a chat with Mr. Sibal and give that point to him, and I'm sure he'll place it before us.
Yes, my lord, I will do that.
Very well then, my lord, Tuesday, I'll take 10 minutes.
Which Brother Narsima has also, we have both been discussing this also earlier. Justice Nariman's judgment on whether there should be a time limit on the speaker to decide
Yes, Madam,
what
that-
referred.
I was going to cite that, Madam.
If we can, yeah. And maybe we
I'll
can have some
assist your
thoughts
lordship on that, my lord, on
on
Tuesday
some
for 10
thoughts on
minutes.
that so that we
Note
can.
the reference order is you can note
And then-
2016 SCC online 1875.
That's Sampath, Madam. That's Sampath, not this. This is something different.
Megachandra's separate.
This is...
Megachandra's reference.
The other one, the other issue is, Madam, where 90 days have been fixed by Justice Nariman for the speaker to decide.
Correct, correct.
That's not that 2016.
Because this is the, I just got it from my law club. That must be a separate reference.
That's right.